So Owanga, in short, is an on-demand electricity service. So the biggest problem throughout most African countries, specifically Congo, where we're working, is the lack of electricity. This leads to people using three inefficient ways to maintain it. Kerosene causes over 600,000 deaths on the continent alone. Generators are highly pollutive and very expensive. They cost at least $10 to run. And imagine, as I'm doing this interview right now, there's a generator in that room. So you're just inhaling that toxic fume, and candles are just inefficient. So we've developed portable battery packs that users can rent out for $2 a day. It can power up a 3-bedroom house or a small shop. I'm Congolese. I grew up in Congo, and then the Civil War broke out, and then I moved to South Africa. And then from South Africa, I spent a couple years there, and then I moved to Canada. I did undergrad and 2 years of high school, and then I moved to Atlanta. And reach out to people. People are always willing to help, and the added bonus is that you're a student. Not a lot of people say no to students. When you try to be the best, you put so much pressure on yourself, and sometimes it's okay to just be average. Because when you're average, you're gonna do average, and that's okay.
Welcome everybody. My name is Nicole Bannister, and this is Entrepreneurship, your one-stop shop for information, inspiration, and motivation about all things entrepreneurship. Today, I'm here with Benedict Owanga, the co-founder of Owanga, an incredible company that is creating energy across the African continent and beyond. Welcome, Benny. It is so wonderful to have you here. We're excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Of course. How are you doing today?
Pretty well. Not so tired from the flight, but I'm doing well. Yeah.
Good. That's good to know. So I want to talk to you a little bit about you as a person. Talk to us about how you got to this point of being a student entrepreneur.
I guess, wow, that's a heavy question, but I guess it's all up to just, three things, right? Like a lot of hard work and a lot of having good mentors and just good people in my circle, whether it's people that I reach out to, like other entrepreneurs, or just my parents that I really look up to. But also God and my faith has really driven me to be where I am today. So yeah.
That's incredible. Grounded on so many different levels.
Thank you.
You mentioned your parents. Are your parents entrepreneurs as well?
My parents are not entrepreneurs, but my dad is a doctor. My mom was a lawyer in Congo. So a little background about myself is that I'm Congolese. I grew up in Congo, and then the Civil War broke out, and then I moved to South Africa. And then from South Africa, I spent a couple years there, and then I moved to Canada. I did undergrad and 2 years of high school, and then I moved to Atlanta. But just seeing my father work so hard to move us from all those different countries and just excel is something that I it's something that really inspired me and kept pushing me to keep working hard, and that translates into entrepreneurship to some extent. Yeah.
Wow, Benny, you have a tremendous life story. All the different places that you've lived. How have your lived experiences informed your company?
Wow, I guess one amazing aspect from my lived experience is that I've gotten so many different perspectives, right? Having lived in Congo, and Congo is a country where the poverty line is really, really low, and we have no electricity. But not only that, the culture, we speak French. So that culture is very, very different from in South Africa, where we speak English and where we do have electricity to some extent, but load shedding is currently happening. So that's non-existent. And then moving to Canada gave me a new perspective on just like how, I guess, a society should be run. But not only that, how to deal with the winter, funny enough, and all those different perspectives has really shaped me to be the type of entrepreneur that I am today. Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. As somebody who has spent a lot of time in South Africa, and we talk about load shedding, which is basically the lack of electricity, rolling national blackouts in the country. When I think about Owanga and the work that you're doing, I'm like perfectly suited.
Yeah.
Perfectly suited. So talk to us about Owanga.
Yeah, for sure. So Owanga, in short, is an on-demand electricity service. So the biggest problem throughout most African countries, specifically Congo, where we're working, is the lack of electricity. This leads to people using three inefficient ways to maintain it. Kerosene causes over 600,000 deaths on the continent alone. Generators are highly pollutive and very expensive. They cost at least $10 to run. And imagine, as I'm doing this interview right now, there's a generator in that room. So you're just inhaling that toxic fume, and candles are just inefficient. So we've developed portable battery packs that users can rent out for $2 a day. It can power up a 3-bedroom house or a small shop. All are created with second life batteries as well. So recyclable laptop batteries. So yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
Wow, so a really sort of sustainable ecosystem there.
Exactly that.
How you're creating the product as well.
Exactly that, yeah. Because we really want to control our supply chain, right? So other competitors do this, but most of them get the components abroad from India or China and then just build it in Nigeria or Congo. But we're using readily sourced materials so we can build it faster and also give a lot of jobs to the youth. So, yeah.
And we know that the African continent has a huge youth bulge, right? The African continent has the most young people out of
Exactly.
anywhere in the world. So there's tons of young people who are looking to have employment opportunities, to continue to study or work or do whatever, and they need a power source to be able to do that effectively.
Exactly that. And if you look at a lot of the statistics and just research, it's been proven that when certain communities have electricity, the GDP is going to rise. And you even mentioned that African continent has the youngest population of people with no jobs, and it's always linked to the lack of electricity. So by us at least, we're not saying we're gonna fix the whole electricity issue, but we're gonna make a small impact, and the steps will follow, and people will be leading on. So that's our goal.
Well, I already know that I need an Owanga product in South Africa. I already know that.
We're coming. We're coming.
Global expansion, here we come.
Definitely.
And speaking of how global your company is, we're here in the United States right now having this conversation. You're based here in the US. What is it like for you being the co-founder of a company that is operating in Congo, but you're here in the US?
It's definitely, I'm going to be honest, it's definitely challenging because we don't really get to speak to our customers. But that's why we have such a strong support team, and I'm really appreciative of all the team members we have that's in Congo and in Rwanda, really pushing the vision for us, because I do plan on going full-time in later September, but currently we have members on our team that are in Congo, and they really just push the product, talk to customers, and I'm really grateful for the work that they've done. So, yeah.
Amazing that you're able to balance being in a totally different country, a totally different continent, and still running this successful business.
That's entrepreneurship.
Literally.
You gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out. Yeah.
Literally. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, the company has your surname. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
How did you decide to name the company after yourself?
Okay. So there's a funny story that not a lot of people know about this. So the company's original name was Pelisa Mwinda, which means turn on the lights in Lingala. And Chinelo and I got into a competition where I guess it was a program, 3-month program, and we got $10,000. But the stipulation was that we register our company. And we were like, okay, Pelisa Mwinda, people won't be able to pronounce it, so we got to figure out a new name. And they needed our registration by next week. So we needed to figure something out so quickly. So she was like, just put your name. I was like, all right, fine. So we just put our name, and the rest was history. So, so there's a long story that a lot of people just don't know, but we're just like, sure, let's just go with Owanga. So, yeah.
I love it. When I was reading the name and reading more about your background and the work that you're doing, I was like, Benny Owanga. I was like, okay, let me connect the dots there.
But we just went with it. You know, it was also like Owanga Solar, and then everyone's like, just drop the solar. We're like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Owanga, so yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think your ability to pivot so quickly, that is entrepreneurship 101, right?
Exactly that. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe next year there'll be another name change. We don't know. So, yeah.
What has it been like for you simultaneously studying and being a full-time student and also being a full-time entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a good question. It's been about like balance and just deciding what I really want to do. For example, like school will always be number one, but so will the business, right? But it's about finding out like where do I want to put my priorities in. For example, after school, a lot of my peers will probably go out, whether it's going out to the bar to study or just going out to the bar to generally have fun. While that is fun and everything, but that's time that I could be spending on the business. So with, you know, my free time is what I use on the company time and vice versa. And studying time when I could be using for the company is when I study. So it's all about finding the right balance. Yeah.
Absolutely. So are you able to find any time to socialize and have fun, or is it all basically studying and business?
I guess I find time. I don't know whether you consider, I play a lot of video games. That's what I consider finding times. And it's one way that I really get to connect with a lot of my friends from South Africa, because I left South Africa when I was 17. So I didn't really have that, I guess, that uni experience with a lot of my friends in South Africa. So one way we always connect is we play video games on Saturdays, and we just hop on the call and just keep each other updated. So that's how I find that balance between working and still playing video games and being in-house. So Yeah.
That's a perfect balance, I think. You're able to connect the dots between your social life and also your entrepreneurship journey and also studying, which are all important, right? It's all about balance.
It's all about balance.
Can you talk to us about how you actually were able to start your company as a student? Like, talk to us about those early stages. What were some of the first things that you had to do, or some of those initial sort of moments when you were like, oh, wow, we're really starting a business?
Yeah, for sure. I guess the main reason I really started the company is because I experienced a power loss in Atlanta. I'm in my last year of law school, but during my second year, I was externing at a place called Pause Between Home. Really great place. And during my training, I lost power for 2 hours, and it took me, you could say, 2 weeks just to figure out what I was doing. And I consider myself quite computer savvy, but it got me thinking. I lost power for 2 hours. It took me 2 weeks to understand something so basic. What about people that have never had power? What about people that have inconsistent power? And then I just started reaching out to my cousins, starting to see the type of methods that they were using. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of electricity poverty throughout Congo, but also throughout the whole continent of Africa. And I was like, there has to be a quicker solution, you know? And then I started talking to Chinelo, my co-founder, and she's like, wow, this is a really cool company, and I want to join along. I want to join the ride. And I'm going to be honest, we didn't know what we were doing, but Emory University has a program called the Hatchery. They really help you go from the idea stage to actually launching. So we went to the Hatchery, and they really helped us be where we are. But it's also been just a lot of mentors that have helped us, you know, throughout the way, just help us where we are right now. Like, it's really up to the mentors that I'm forever grateful to everyone that's helped us. Yeah.
It sounds like the mentors and incubators that have helped you really launch this company have been paramount to making sure that you have gotten your company off the ground.
Exactly that, because like I mean, when we started doing financials and just learning, like my major was criminology and women's studies, and now I'm in law school. I don't know anything about finance, but just reaching out to my mentors and reaching out to folks at Emory University and them sitting down with me and taking the time to really break down what unit cost is, what a financial deck should look like, is something that really helped us tremendously. Yeah.
What would you say to other students who are watching this interview right now saying, you know what, I've always had this idea to start a business, but I wasn't really sure if I could balance it, or I wasn't really sure what the first steps are? What would you say, like 1, 2, 3, these are the first things that you need to do?
Yeah, I guess, okay, 1, 2, 3. Figure out if you're genuinely passionate about it. I guess do it if you are. And reach out to people. People are always willing to help. And the added bonus is that you're a student. Not a lot of people say no to students. I graduated in May, so that student card will be expiring soon. But reach out to people. People are always willing to help. And just do it, you know. I guess if you fail, it's okay, because a lot of people see failure as a bad thing. But failure, I see it as a lesson to improve. And you can always improve upon failure. And that's why a lot of people don't really try entrepreneurship, because they're afraid to fail. But it's okay to fail. I failed so many times, and I'm still here. So, yeah.
I love that you said that. Failure is absolutely a stepping stone towards success.
Exactly.
There is no success without failure.
There's no success without failure. Exactly that.
100%.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey through various competitions, because you mentioned competitions in the past, and now you're here competing in the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards. Talk to us about the competition journey and how that's helped your company grow along the way.
Yeah, for sure. The competition journey has been really, really, it's been a lot of learnings and a lot of lessons. It goes back to failures, right? So last year, Chinelo and I, we had 3 pitch competitions. We lost all 3 back to back. And then we obviously we were sad, but we were like, it's okay, we keep improving. And then after that, we ended up winning 3 other pitches. And it's all because we started practicing. But the most important advice Chinelo mentioned is that when we were pitching and we were practicing, we were always trying to be the best. When you try to be the best, you put so much pressure on yourself. And sometimes it's okay to just be average. Because when you're average, you're going to do average, and that's okay. You don't have to be the best all the time, because that puts so much pressure on you, and it could lead to you failing. While you're average, it's like, okay, I'm average. Great. Great, I'm average, you know? So that mentality has really helped us relax, and it really helps us when we pitch. So, yeah.
I don't know, Benny. That might be the quote of the interview. It's okay to be average. I love that.
Thank you, yeah.
So what made you and Chinelo decide to apply to the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards?
I guess It's one of our mentors, Zahir. He found out. I think he's one of the members of the entrepreneur organization, and he was like, "Hey, this competition is something that you should really apply to." And I was like, "Sure, this is something I want to apply to, but I want to see if I even stand a chance because I wanted to see the different companies." So we, like Chinelo and I, just started watching a lot of videos on the 2023 finals, the 2022 finals. We just started watching videos and seeing if we really have a chance. But not only that, try to find some inspiration from the entrepreneurs that won and the entrepreneurs that made it to the furthest stage. And we're like, you know what? Let's give it a chance. And, we're here now, so I guess it worked. Yeah.
Exactly. And how has GSEA been different than some of the other pitch competitions you've entered over the years?
One thing that I really enjoy about GSEA is that they really understand that a lot of the folks here are students, and they give us that grace in knowing that not a lot of people have that business sense when it comes compared to folks that have been in the business world for so many years, right? For example, you can enter a couple pitch competitions and it could be like, why are you the perfect team for this? And then you're like, you don't have 20 years of experience. But GSC, this competition really believes in students, and they believe that young people can make a change, So, yeah.
I think one of the things that GSEA really focuses on is that mentorship element, because everyone competing is a student,
Exactly.
whether it's undergrad or grad school or med school or law school,
Exactly
like
that.
you, right? And so because of that, the entrepreneurs who are seasoned and who have that 20 years are the ones who are like, okay, we're going to make sure that these young people who are starting off their companies, starting off their businesses as students, balancing so many different things, have space to grow. So I love that you mentioned that grace element, because that is something critical to GSEA.
And we're grateful for that. We're really grateful for that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So Benny, you mentioned that you had watched some videos of the 2023 global finals of GSEA. I'm going to assume you were watching Start It Up.
Yeah.
Love that show. I'm a little biased, but
Understandable.
So what was it like for you watching students who are competing, not only pitching their business ideas, right, but also doing that for like hundreds of thousands of people who are watching the series online?
Yeah, it was very inspirational because I guess to some extent, I really saw myself in that position because I'm a student as well, right? And a lot of them had so much confidence in talking about their business. But not only that, when the judges would ask them questions, they would respond. And just that confidence that they have, I was like, yeah, I think I have a chance of doing something like that. And I believe that Chinelo and I could be on a stage like that. And I was like, you know what? That's the inspiration we got. But not only that, we know, I think he was the 2020. Don't quote me on this. I think it was the 2022 winner or the 2023 winner, Nick. But he also had a video where he was talking about just his entrepreneurial journey and the ups and the obstacles he had, but he still kept pushing through. And I was like, you know what? I think we have a chance. So yeah.
Absolutely. What does it mean for you as an entrepreneur to have a platform like Start It Up? Because it's not just, the people that you're pitching to. Now it's millions of people around the world who could be watching and learning about Owanga.
Yeah, I guess one thing that is very important for me is that I'm Congolese, right? And I haven't really met a lot of young or just a lot of successful Congolese entrepreneurs that I can really that I look up to. Most of the entrepreneurs I look up to are either from countries like Nigeria and South Africa. And that's great because it gives me people to look up to. But I want a lot of young Congolese students to really see me as not somebody that made it to some extent, but somebody that's doing something that they can do, because when you see someone that looks like you, acts like you in really good positions, it gives you that ability to believe that you can do it as well. So, yeah.
Representation is so important.
Exactly
when you
that.
can look up to someone who looks like you, comes from the same country as you, is the same religion as you, or the same background as you, and you see them being successful and you see them doing something inspiring, you're like, wow, maybe I could do that too.
Exactly that. And I guess it plants a seed, it plants a much needed seed on the continent that we need, but in the country as well. Yeah.
And planting that seed on the African continent is so important because we know that soil is fertile. It is going to grow.
It's going to grow. It's definitely going to grow. And it's going to start with, just a lot of young entrepreneurs, and a lot of young people are doing amazing things on the continent right now. So just in due time. Yeah.
Absolutely. What does the future of Owanga look like to you?
The future of Owanga is me going full-time in September, and the goal is to start building our first factory. We plan on building a factory to start producing our battery packs, but our ultimate goal is I'm really happy. I'm always happy, but I'll be a little bit happier when we move into the e-mobility space, and that's the goal of our company, because to our customers, we're offering electricity, right? But in-house, we're just producing batteries. And the better batteries we produce, the bigger capacities we produce, the closer we get to our goal of e-mobility. And that's what the future of Owanga looks like. So,
beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's a future that I'm very excited for, not gonna lie.
I mean, when we have the cars, you invite it. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Sweet.
I'll be there. So, Benny, this has just been such a dynamic conversation. I've learned so much about the work that you're trying to do in Congo and beyond, about how you're working so collaboratively with your co-founder, Chinelo. Is there anything else that you want to share with us during this interview today?
Yeah, one thing I would really want to share is to anybody that's watching this, specifically investors, just believe in a lot of young people, but not only that, believe in a lot of young African startups and a lot of young African founders, because a lot of us just don't have the opportunity to get the funding that's needed to really push our projects forward. But there are a lot, and I mean a lot of really brilliant minds, and if they just have the correct mentorship and the correct funding, it could really be amazing on the continent.
Amandla!
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Thank you so much, Benny.
No problem. See y'all.
We've had the opportunity to chat with you a little bit, but I'm super excited because we also have your co-founder, Chinelo, here as well. So we're going to chat with her just now. If you want to see more videos like this to get your dose of inspiration and motivation about all things entrepreneurship, make sure you subscribe to the GSCA YouTube channel.